It's 11:39. Nick Clegg has insisted he has nothing to hide over the way he dealt with allegations of sexual harassment by the party's former chief executive, Lord Rennard. The Lib Dem peer has denied he behaved inappropriately. Let's go back to Westminster and rejoin our chief political correspondent, Norman Smith. Nick Clegg can't be finding himself in a particularly comfortable position this morning.
Absolutely not, Tim, because up to now Mr. Clegg has been able to hunker down and say he knew nothing about any of these claims. Last night he admitted he did know something, but it wasn't specific. It was anonymous, it was general, it was rumours. Nevertheless, it brings him into the frame. On top of it, we have the party president, Tim Farron, saying very bluntly this morning that the party screwed up in terms of how it responded to those initial claims. Well, joining me is the co-editor of Lib Dem Voice, Mark Pack. I mean, what is your sense of Nick Clegg's position? How central is he now to this whole story, and how damaged is he?
Well, the key thing, I think, is the accusations are extremely serious accusations that have been levelled. And also it's very important that the person accused, Lord Rennard, gets his chance to put his case as well. So we shouldn't jump to too many conclusions until we know the outcome of the inquiries. But absolutely, if there was a case where people should have known, should have followed up, should have investigated more thoroughly in the past, then that will be quite a serious finding and obviously will have consequences.
Much of the fire now, though, concentrated not just on Chris Rennard, but on Nick Clegg, what he knew and what he did or did not do.
Well, I think it's important to remember that in politics there's all sorts of rumour and innuendo that surrounds huge numbers of people, and you can't act on the basis of every bit of rumour that you hear as if that means that person is definitely guilty. You'd leave a trail of destruction of wrecked innocent people behind you if you did. So the question we need to find out, and that's why I think it's great that we're going to have a proper sort of inquiry with a sensible independent element to it to find out exactly how much was known and when.
Your party president says the party screwed up.
I think that's a pretty fair description. Tim's choice of language is perhaps a little bit livelier than my natural choice of language, but clearly, you looking at where we are now, I think with the advantage of hindsight, there are all sorts of things people, I'm sure, wish they could and should have done differently. What is important, though, obviously, is to judge people in the end based on what they knew and what they could reasonably have done at the time, not simply with the advantage of hindsight, which is why the inquiries are so important.
And all this just days ahead of an absolutely crunch by-election. Does this whole row mean you are going to lose this by-election?
Certainly not. I think the by-election is a very close contest between the Tories and the Liberal Democrats. I mean, when I was in Eastleigh at the weekend, I was actually quite struck how almost nobody on the doorstep was mentioning this issue. Now, that's not to downplay the seriousness of the allegations, but I think when it comes to people deciding how to vote in the by-election for their MP on Thursday, clearly other issues were very much at the forefront of their minds.
But if you do lose, will people not put this whole saga together with a Lib Dem seat lost together and question Nick Clegg's position?
The by-election is clearly an important one for the party. I think we should wait to see what the result is, because it's clearly very close at the moment between the Lib Dems and the Tories in that seat. Win or lose, whichever of the two parties ends up losing, there'll be all sorts of questions to ask, absolutely.
OK, Mark Pack, thanks so much. That is, of course, Tim, going to be an absolutely crunch by-election, but there's no doubt this cannot have helped the Lib Dem cause in Eastleigh.
Norman, at Westminster for now. Thank you.